Sorry for the poor lighting. I'm back in my car. There's a space to just deal with my mental health. I think I will leave it like that. It's, it's an luminous green beanbag in the back that makes the picture look a little bit nicer than just darkness. Sorry you can't see my mouth with the dark and the beard, but my tone of voice doesn't really represent the situation for me. I'll give a quick rundown on the situation so you know, and then we can hopefully go forward. I'm planning to post this video on different mental health psychologists and blah 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 blogs, pages on Facebook, to see if anyone from there can help or offer any suggestions. But if there are any budding psychologists out there, or psychologists or anyone that way, I'm very keen to find possible solutions to this, because, and I'll give a rundown. As I said, you have to be patient. I speak a funny way. I've lost my train of thought. Essentially, this one has been in the background now for a while as a problem. I knew it was a problem. I just didn't know. I just never thought it was an active problem to my life. And I made the video earlier today, and I apologise again. I'm smoking on camera, but it's beneficial for me in my situation right now, so you'll have to forgive me for that. I made a video earlier and I expressed clearly, and I don't know if it was hearing it, saying it out loud, as if I was saying it to somebody else, or because I'm saying it to Facebook and YouTube, it somewhat reinforces it, because I'm justified against whoever hears that, and it adds more pressure to it. And that is me dealing with my life, my mental health, in the way I know best. It's as if my mental health has created a situation where life is making me wish I was dead. Now, I want to reiterate, because I know it's a very sensitive subject, and I need to be clear, and that is, I have no intentions of suicide or self-harm. But I'm well past, or at least I'm dealing with at least the level of pressures that once created those situations within me. And I've since learnt my lessons from them, and what I'm about to share is what's helped me learn my lessons from them. But I find myself now stuck in the thing that helped me get over self-harm and suicidal thoughts. I'm now stuck in that CBT kind of bubble. I can really see it, because it's really affecting my life, or at least what my problem at present is, and what my life is showing me, that my life is trying to put me in a position where I wish to die, is due to this situation. And I don't know how to get out of that. I don't know how to leave that behind. And the reason I've never thought about it And I'll get to exactly what it is in a minute. I give context first, that's just the way it is. The reason I've never thought about it is because I knew it was always a problem, a real fundamental problem. And I don't know if I thought just leaving it to life and things would resolve, or because others are wiser than me and they were hopefully, they were the ones that really instigated the mental, this will come clear in a moment, the mental parameters for me to get over the feelings of self-harm and suicide. And they were the ones that instigated it. And for that reason, I could see that, and I was never going to go above that, so I surrendered to it. But just now, it sort of clicked that what I'm experiencing is really reminiscent of this as the fundamental crux of the problem. What the crux of that problem is, I'm not sure, but I'll explain. So. The system, the mental health system, administers medication. That's the system. Now, my viewpoint on that is medication is bad. I have a alternative health background, a healthy living lifestyle. I also have interest in spirituality and conspiracies and how all these pharmaceutical companies are the devil, blah, blah, blah. And I appreciate that's just the viewpoint. But ultimately, I went into the mental health system like that. So regardless of whether medication is good or bad, for myself it's bad. And the doctors, I think I made them well aware very quickly that was the situation for me. So I had a couple of admissions to hospital over the course of my mental health in the early days. And I can't recall the exact happenings. I could if I really tried, but I'm pretty sure what I'm about to say is there and thereabouts for you. And that is essentially, I started self-harming. I have my reasons, and I'm pretty sure as to why I was self-harming at the time. And I ended up in hospital, and I didn't want to be in hospital. And I self-harmed in hospital. And quite quickly, they made me aware that wasn't the right course of action for me to do. They really made me aware that you're not going to be self-harming here, son. And I didn't even contemplate to do it again in hospital. I learnt my lesson, I went out and I got on with life. But very quickly, I attracted a situation that highlighted that. And that was a period of time where I was self-harming and very suicidal, immense amounts of pressure, and a lot of pain from everywhere. Ultimately, I was trying within all of that to just stay out of hospital. I knew I had a mental health disorder. I'd allowed myself to self-harm again. I wasn't thinking about, I learnt my lesson, don't self-harm in front of them. That was the lesson. And it really hadn't sunk in that I have to do it outside of hospital. But nonetheless, that was the summer where I learnt my lesson not to self-harm outside of hospital. I went at it, and it was a very unpleasant experience, first and foremost. I gave everything I had in terms of to staying out of hospital while self-harming. And ultimately, I ended up back in hospital due to self-harming and the police finding me self-harming. Ultimately, I was ignorant. I was ignorant at the time to what the situation was, why I was experiencing the discomforts that led me to the self-harming, and all the pressures, all the worldly things that I found, and blah, blah, blah. And I ended up in hospital, and I was very, I felt sorry for myself. I felt sorry for myself as an experience, and I felt that, right, I'm in hospital, at least I'm not going to self-harm here. The self-harming has stopped. They'll be kind to me, and I'll go on with life, you know. But the doctor really wanted to teach me a lesson. And where I was thinking the situation demanded sympathy towards me, I got the opposite. And the doctor, I found him very stern. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That is the situation. He was stern. That was my experience of him. And he administered medication to me. And he was not hard on me. He challenged me on everything, you know. He wouldn't give me a leg to stand on. I had to bend left, right and centre to try and please the man. I could barely communicate. I was petrified. And I experienced 3 months of having to take that medication at a time when I had feelings of confusion. Anyway, long story short is I took that as a lesson, and I realised a lot of things. I realised about self-harming, that the system wants me to stop. First and foremost, if I self-harm again and I end up in hospital, I'm going to get punished. That's the lesson. That is the way it is. Whether it's specific to me, anyone else, or that's just the situation. So I had to really start to beat that into myself. And it's been successful. I no longer wish to self-harm. I no longer wish to commit suicide. And I've put it in perspective, and it's all about my body and my physical body, and how that's an experience of life. Your body is ill, your body's cut, your body's got a bump on it. It really does affect the rest. Ultimately, can you imagine being 100% instead of like 50% because you self-harm and your body's ill in the first place? So I'm just trying to get the beanbag back in because it's gone dark again. There we go. Ultimately, what I have, my mental health sort of expanded thereafter, and one of the characteristics that I found for anxiety was to constantly repeat something over and over in my mind. When my mind works, because I can't think at the moment, but if I could think, I'd repeat it over and over and over, non-stop. And unfortunately, what I never really got over what led to that point. I had therapy, I think, thereafter, private and a bit with the NHS, and I'm not putting the NHS down in any way. That's not the intention of this video. So if that's how it's coming across, please remove that. But essentially, I've never dealt with that original cause of wanting to die, of being suicidal in the first place. I've just been resorted to survival in dealing with the outside environment, of the punishment, of the lesson. But when I can think, I will repeat over and over in my mind, I need to die. Because it's true. That's my feeling towards life. This world doesn't give me any other reason to want to live, given everything I've experienced. And believe me, I think I'm very fair as a human being. So, I think because I try to live, I still try to live, and because I am quite capable as a human being, more than most, where I actively seek life, this original mindset that is, it's not a lie. I'm not trying to twist it. It's the truth. Oh. How can I put it? I'm a spiritual person. I believe in intent, blah, blah, blah. We talked about law of attraction the other day, and who knows what level that's programmed into. But I believe, given all my intent towards life and given how much of myself I've had to remove, given that who I am wants to die, that's who I am, given that I, as a human being, am the complete opposite, in the sense that everything I do is for life. I constantly feel the pressures there that led to the suicide and self-harm. But I'm still trying for life because I know they're there, and there's just no point giving in to them. So, and you have to take it with a pinch of salt, you know. I'm still a human being, I'm not perfect, but I give a lot of energy to life. I give a lot of energy to remaining healthy. So it's a very adjunct situation, and we've got the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction at the moment, so we're talking about energy and the unconscious. And it seems very prevalent. So my life right now is making me wish I would die, or taking me to that point. And I'm doing everything I can to just continue, but it's ironic because I just realized before this video, the people I interact with at the hospital, during the system, my neighbours, in one way, first and foremost, in the most direct way you can see, if you're looking at it directly, people are being far kinder to me than I could ever have imagined right now. But again, in an adjunct way, it seems to be creating more pressure on that element. So it's almost like not myself in terms of my mind, but myself in terms of a human being on all levels, you know, like mental, physical, emotional. Sorry, I could feel my voice wanting to go off into an emotional expression, and I don't want to. So I'm just trying to pull that back. And I can see myself being pulled apart there. I don't know what to call that. I don't know what part of me is being divided. But ultimately, I think it's time to really deal with that original cause of what's making my life trying to kill me. No, not trying to kill me, but essentially reaffirming that to me. Is saying, right, Andreas, if this is who you are, then your life should look like this. And I'm saying, well, the outside world looks a bit different to your simplicity. And the outside world, I have to be like this. So I haven't thought about this thus far. Not actively. But knowing the situation which I've felt into for a long time now, I think I'm a bit of a loss there by myself. And this is the first time I'm asking for external input from anybody for anything, because the rest of my mental health, I have to be on top of it. I have to be on top of it in the sense that I've learnt this technique, that technique, and the other technique in the past. And I'm trying to simplify my mind as much as possible where it wants to go crazy. So having input there at other times, I don't find beneficial, and I'll often decline. But I know this situation, and I'm scared. I'm scared to ask for input because it's been such a long time that I'm actively asking for input for my psychology to my life. But I'm just double checking. So I'm going to take 10 seconds to make sure. I definitely want this. 1 moment. No? 1 second. Sorry. Right, so what I'm going to do, because I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to talk through for the next few minutes in honesty to see if I can resolve that or not, and then we'll have an answer. And it might be that if I need to ask for help, what I'm about to talk through should allow greater clarity from the outside looking in. So, my mindset of I need to die, I say it because it's the most real thing I know. I could reprogram it, but it wouldn't have the same emotional connection and intent. And I've tried in the past, but it's not quite the same. And ultimately, when I'm distressed with the rest of my life, I wish to rest as much as possible. And saying something that's as truthful to myself seems to calm more, seems to be more effective. So what I think is if try and keep it to truth, try and keep it to reality, try and keep it truthful. So I made a video recently of a dream. Not a dream when you have it sleep, but a dream I'd like to achieve in this world. I've not dared to dream for a long while. And not only that, where I used to dream, and I was airy-fairy a lot of the time, most of the time, near enough all the time, this dream is as grounded as it gets in this world. And that is, I'd love to work with disabled people, I'd love to work with nature, and I'd love to work with animals. I feel I have the foundations of those, and I'll need to spend some time in that direction to establish myself there. But there isn't a reason in my mind that couldn't be achieved, given my mental health too. If there was anything in this world that I would do as a service, as work, this is what I see. It will make me come the most alive. It should allow me to get on with it at home, even if I'm not able to get out for 6 months due to my mental health. And that's what I can see as life. So, right, how would I embed that to overwrite the pre-existing one of I need to die? Because on one hand, it's a waste of energy to think it over and over if I'm never going to act on it. What I'm kind of doing is just sending the intention out there. And it might sound horrible, but this is exactly the truth. I'm sending the intention out there for a quick and painless death. And that's saying in any way I need to die, I'll accept a little bit of pain over a... No, it will have to be quick and painless. I don't want to suffer. That's my mindset too. I shouldn't need to suffer. I don't want to suffer. So how do I take this new one, embed it over the old mindset of I need to die? Well, how do I feel about it first in relation to the past? This is how I give therapy to myself all day long. You're experiencing me giving therapy to myself. And that is, how do I feel about it in relation to the past? How do I feel about the new mindset in absolute honesty in relation to my past and the current world? In honesty, it's the best I can do in a terrible, terrible, terrible situation. It's incomprehensible. It's incomparable. Life will still be very unpleasant, even if I achieve that. And I don't believe that's how humans are meant to live. So, this is what I just needed to talk through. There is no point me wishing for a different life. I have a very serious mental health disorder that's very unpleasant. I live within a system and a society that I'm very, very, very capable of functioning within more than near enough anybody I know. But given my mental health disorder, I'm still pretty how can I put it? Words are just evading me at present. Knocked out. Let's just call it that. I'm knocked out by my mental health to be able to really take advantage. So, there is no point dreaming. There is no point dreaming and saying, I would love to live in this or that, or putting something in direct opposition to that experience in my mind. And I'm going to post this on a few of the DeMartini blogs because I appreciate his work in the past as much as my life has urged from being able to relate to it. I suppose as a direct experience. But I'm curious because I'm at a loss, and I know his work is about opposites. I know his work is about polarities, and just from what I remember, it should be appropriate. But yeah, I can't really see, and what I'll do, I'll give you a snapshot because of why I'm struggling. This experience this summer that I self-harmed, it was so unpleasant. I know there was several times I said to myself, there isn't a thing in this world, and I was absolutely sincere and honest with myself in the moment. World, past, present, just a thing in this world that I would want, that I would sell out for right now over wanting a demise. And that's in my mind. That's just programmed there, that experience was so bad. That was the level. And I don't remember the answer to this, but I questioned, would I have even done it for the entire world, you know? Would I have even done it? My uncle, we spoke about spirituality, and we often would speak about enlightenment for the whole planet in a certain context. And I questioned, would I have done this for the entire planet, to have a consciousness awakening? And I genuinely don't know or remember the answer to that. I've since, just a bit of humour here, but I've since realised that if I was somehow God, that would solve it. Not because I'd have magical powers, but because I would be the final point and the starting point. Who else am I going to complain to? I accept it and get on. That's the situation. But I'm not God, unfortunately. So I'm lost here, and I'm in need of psychological input to get me out of it. I rely heavily on my mind. I have a mental health disorder, and all it would take, possibly, is someone to say, "Hey, Andreas, look at it like this," and my entire life would change, or could change, for like. That's how my life is structured. It's really that dependent upon mental blockages to my past. Or if anyone knows of any companies that have developed some sort of amnesia-inducing state where I could just forget myself and become someone new, the system gives me a new passport. We'll call you Andy Demetea. We'll call you Andy Demetea, and we'll go into your property and we'll change it all, and you won't remember a thing. I'll accept. What's the point? I'm not going to suffer. I don't want to suffer. I want to be practical. I want to get on with life. So yes, I think I've given enough of myself and the situation in this video for anyone who is a psychologist, who likes mental human riddles. I'm more than keen to have your input. But I know what psychologists are like, yeah? So no suffering. I don't need to suffer.